Hi, welcome to the 30th episode of GrandLine Grinders. And today, of course, we are talking about a little bit of the meta, not too much because this meta has been really solved. We have arguably the best yellow card ever printed. We're talking about that today. Plus new Foxy support. Super excited about that. And so we're also going to talk a little bit about the tournament at the very end that I'm having the beginning of next month. But of course, this week I am brought with my guests, Repreach and Classic this week. How you guys doing today?
I'm doing all right. I'm here. I have a webcam.
I am back from hiatus, kind of. Ooga booga. I guess I am back from my ghost.
So we're gonna have an exciting podcast to talk about today. It's gonna be very quick for the first part, just because there's not a lot to talk about. I know there was a regional this weekend actually, in Peoria. A lot of people that I know that were playing at the Treasure Cup were talking about going, and I don't know. Like, a lot of them were talking about either bringing Ace or Emu. That was basically it. So I think one person was talking about bringing Lim, but it was like mainly people talking about bringing these two decks. Like, and it makes sense. I mean, they're kind of just everywhere. Like, they're running rampant. Ace, Emu, but it does seem like Ace is actually better. I mean, Emu is better, it seems like. What do you guys think?
I don't know. I don't really have an opinion. In my experience, I feel like across the board, Emu has better matchups into most things. But I don't know. I feel like when I play Ace, I usually don't lose into Emu. I usually find myself losing into Zoro more so than anything. So I don't know. It's hard to say that like Emu. Like I would say like like I said, across the board, right? Like Emu is probably the best, but I feel like Ace is also like 6-7, 6-1. I don't know, however you want to do the saying, but it's a crapshoot one way or the other. I feel like representatively, obviously, Emu's doing better. But I think that's just a Western tense to the play pattern, right? Generally, in the West, you see a lot more love for
Kaboom,
black, removal, things like that. But I don't know. I think that's just why we're seeing more of it than Ace. But I think either or, both of them equally as good as one another. But I still think Ace generally better in the Emu, in my experience.
Yeah, very experienced player on Ace could beat Emu. But more often than not, like, it's very hard to beat Emu if they win the dice roll, which is maybe a reason why you see an over amount of them. It's just because if they win the dice roll, they're always going second, and there's very few decks that actually can stand up to them and going second, which is a huge problem. It shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be if you win the dice roll or not, you win the game. Which
I think regardless of any meta, you kind of need a deck like that around, but you don't need it to be as consistent as Emu is right now.
That's fair. I mean, I don't mind decks like what Shanks used to be. I feel like now Ace is kind of that, where a lot of its matchups are very, very close, 40 to 60 range. So, like, a lot of time it could be just 50-50 matchups. Like, even Blackbeard, right? I faced Ace as Blackbeard in my Treasure Cup. Like, I just didn't draw right, and he managed to beat me. Like, Ace just has so much tools at his disposal that it can just overcome even a bad matchup, which arguably still probably is like a 44% win rate against it. Just because it's just so 50-50 across the board, or slightly above 50-50 across the board. So I definitely can see that. Except, like you said, Zoro is quite difficult. But yeah, so I didn't really talk too much about this, just because I mean this has kind of been this way since this meta started, and it hasn't really changed.
Yep.
I mean, this is just constant. The two decks being really the only ones showing up. So, which is kind of why for the tournament that I have scheduled it's going to be OP14 because I want you guys to have a fun time. But speaking of fun times, we're going to get into the actual spoiler section, and we have some good ones. So there's a lot to talk about today. So first of all, we have this Kikunojo, 7-drop, 8,000, active main, once per turn. If this character is played this turn, you may set your Land of Wano type leader as active. Oh, boom. Wrong screen. There we go. Okay. So, some people are really kind of excited this for multiple leaders. What leader are you guys most excited for?
I think Yamato is like the elephant in the room, right? Just because like you get to restand your double attacker. But I feel like also in Yamato, once you're at that 7 like Dawn turn, you're already kind of like, I feel like double attacking twice is a win more. But also, I just have a soft spot for Green Red Odin, and while this doesn't go like this isn't doing anything super crazy for him, but restanding him and letting him swing again is just fun. It's just plain fun. Who doesn't love swinging their leader twice and getting an 8K for it?
I agree. I do think Yamato is like very awkward in this conversation because usually Yamato has double attack, so usually on the 5 or 6 Dawn turn, you're getting a hit across. So they go from 5 to 3. So, I mean, hitting them twice just to do 3 life kind of is a little bit more win more. Especially since you're only going to be doing this on your 10 Dawn turn. Or 9 Dawn turn, the earliest, because you still want to attach 3 Dawn to your lead to go 7 or 8. Some people were talking about using one of the 2 cards that allows you the Otama, or the other one that allows you to tap and give your leader a plus 3,000 for the turn. But still, that's still a very high ask, especially having that thing live 1 turn. Because you played the turn before, especially against Zora, they'll just tap it down and swing into it. So I think it's win more in Yamato, but I could see Odin benefiting quite a bit from this. I'm trying to think what other Land of Wano leaders. Kinemon, I don't think is going to be in the question.
Yeah.
What do you think, Repreach?
I think realistically, from what I know and what I can see, the only real answer seems to be Yamato, based off of the fact that Odin doesn't really do that much on attack compared to Yamato having that double attack. And there is no way somebody's running Orochi on something like this with reasons of wanting to do the effect. I think the card's going to find its strong niche, and I think it's going to just do what it's got to do. It's going to combo off at a 7 cost, which is going to be slow into the game. And it might make or break some games, but it's going to take a minute till we get there. And it's going to be weak to most of the interaction that already exists in the game.
Yeah, this definitely feels like a... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, this definitely just feels like a card that's designed for a leader that hasn't been printed yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But even with that, I think with all the Land of Wano searchers, like, I still think this, at best case scenario, this is going to show up as a 2 of. I mean, it is a brick, so that is a huge downside to this card. I do think it's only going to show up as a two of, because you're probably going to find it regardless with Momosuke and the Otama green one that searches for a green Land of Wano. Or even you could maybe see this. No, I guess all Land of Wano leaders are probably Slash, so you could play Perona if you wanted to search for this, but still, like,
yeah,
I feel like there's better things you could be searching for. I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy, and I'm not excited for this one as much as I am the next green card. Can anyone amp this card up? We need to give it a little extra.
What do you mean?
I guess there's nothing else to amp up. I mean, it's fine. I mean, you might just be right. The leader that wants this is not printed yet. That could be a valid point.
Yeah, I think that's like really the crux of the issue with this guy is that just it doesn't have a solid slot yet for something that can really
They
make
might just
use
be
of it.
testing the waters,
Mm-hmm.
printing it and seeing how it performs with the rest of stuff before maybe filling it in with something that actually makes it oomph.
Yeah,
Right.
maybe they are printing this early so that way they get ahead of time kind of data to see how it performs. Or the leader that is intended for this card is dropping up pretty, shortly after, and they
Yeah.
know if they need to tune that leader before it goes out the door, based on how this one performs. We shall see. The more exciting one, though, is Carrot. So Carrot walks away with a very decent card here. An A drop 9K. On play for leader has the Minx type. You may set up to 2 of your Minx type characters and your leader is active. So it kind of does. It kind of does just a better Kiku. So now you set your leader active, which is always Carrot, and 2 characters. So you get to swing in with 3 things, 3 more attacks. What do you guys think about Carrot?
I think this card is crazy. The fact that it says "and your leader" is kind of nuts. Um, just giving Carrot more things to do is also nice. Um, I think it's the Shishiliando or whatever that's got the win attacking. That's your win attacking minx. I don't remember what it does, but like I just know there's like multiple minx. There's the dog man, whatever his name is, Wano card. There's a bunch of stuff that could get restood and get good attacks off of this card, and the fact that it's the 9K is just a solid stat line.
Yeah, I mean, there's no counter on it, but I think it's still pretty reasonable. In fact, what do you think about Repreach?
I think that for such a powerful scene that this card is coming from, when Carrot does her full transformation, I think that it's embodying that quite well, at least from the flavor, and coming in with a haymaker of a card that is turning the tide of the battle. I think compared to what we just saw, this card is going to blast off. They might see some synergy together, knowing the context of both of these. But why go for the Carrot at home when you can go for the whole oomph? I'm just using onomatopoeia today. I've run out of words because this card is going to probably make a crash. It's going to find the glass cannon fellows that actually want to just make this an OTK format.
Yeah, I mean, Carrot definitely needed it though. Like she definitely needed the love. Like, and then I guess technically on your 10 turn, you do have Law and Beppo, right? Because I believe that they also play that because Beppo is a mink. So like you do have like a good 8 into a 10 now in Carrot, which is something that you really kind of needed. And plus, I think Law and Beppo is really good into OP14 meta. So
There's also a note to note about blockers with this card and the interaction, since it sets them as active.
This is true. You can technically swing with your blocker and then make it active again to allow it to block. So that's a nice little interaction too. So
depending on how big your blockers are, you can potentially set up an attack turn where your opponent has to defend a few times, waste resources on defense. You slam a big threat, and then you're still set up for the defense to be able to go through. Just overall, potentially negative 2 or 3.
This also, could potentially just let you freeze your opponent's whole board with a 5-cost Carrot, right? Because you're going to swing with your normal Carrot, you're going to drop this, you're going to untap the 5-cost Carrot, you're going to swing again. If you already have a second 5-cost Carrot, like assuming, this is your 10 turn, you're playing this, that's 4 Carrot freezes and your leader swing.
Yeah,
it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, so if you
it's starting to sound like a chopper deck.
Yeah, this is starting to sound like a Carrot deck. Straight Carrot into Carrot into Long Beppo, right? Because I guess 5 dawn turn you could play Carrot, and then your 7 dawn turn you play Carrot, and then now you play Carrot, and then you play Long Beppo. That would be your curve. Because if you do carrot into carrot, it's actually kind of crazy. I'm talking about the 5-drop carrots, not the 8. When I say carrot into
Right.
carrot. But yeah, of course, you go into this carrot too. By God, which is good too. And plus, she's smiling of all things. She's very, she's very strong, but she's smiling, so it makes it less intimidating until she wins.
Yeah. I think my biggest beef with this card though is just the fact that like there's just really not, outside of the 5-cost carrot, there's that Inuarashi I was talking about. He restands a Dawn, and like when he attacks. But other than that, there's not really anything that's like a super solid target for restanding for a when attacking trigger in the Minx archetype. So this is another card that seems like it needs another piece or two, like, to really get going.
And my other main concern with this card, technically, I would say, is so with a lot of leaders today being 6K, like you would have, it's like kind of like you would have to play this on your 10 Dawn turn. That way you can get your 2 characters or your leader up to the proper power, so you can swing multiple times. Mm-hmm. That may be the one thing that holds her back. Because like I said, a lot of her stuff are 5s or 6s. So the 5s you need to get up to a 6, so that way you can get into an ace or into a blue-purple Luffy or whatever, or even Roger. Like this makes math way harder, especially into Roger, right? Like you have to have both of these characters have to be 7Ks. All of them do, and so does the leader, so you can get into Roger. So that is my only concern about her, is like she takes up so much Dawn and consumes it that she might not allow you to get a good attacks in.
I mean, also, if you run into a Blackbeard matchup, funny things are just going to happen where this card's going to be roughly dead.
Yeah, so that's like the only time where this card actually has the upper hand, right? Because it's activate main. And it kind of is like worded like Blackbeard's cards. So that is interesting about Kikinojo, right? Mm-hmm. But Carrot, that's my biggest worry. Like, because usually when you're trying to do math for lethal, do math for proper attacks, and etc., you're devoting a Dawn to not doing the math. That makes sense, because this doesn't have rush. So I don't know. That's like my only, check mark against it. But what do you guys like? Any final closing thoughts about her?
No, I just think it just needs more pieces, and once we get them, this card will, I don't know, it won't be cracked, but it'll be pretty good.
Yeah, she could just be a 2 of top end.
Oh no, yeah, I think it's totally like this card reads like a 2 of.
I mean, with no backup, yeah.
But the winners of today, let's go into another color. There's one card in blue, and that's VV. 7-drop, 4,000, 1K counter on play. You may play up to 1 Alabasta type character with a cost of 8 or less, other than VV, from your hand. Then your opponent places 1 card from their hand to the bottom of their deck. Both effects are really good here. Sadly, she doesn't draw, but I guess that would just be too broken. But she's
not to mention she already has a counter written on her.
She does, yes. So like, she's kind of like a pushed version of
Nami.
Not Nami, but Rebecca.
Yes.
She's like a push version of Rebecca, because she also cheats down. I think if she's an 8-drop, you have an 8-drop, you get to cheat down something else down that's like a 7 or an 8. So like she's kind of like that. But then I guess she cheats down 2 things, right? Rebecca does. A 7-drop and like a 4-drop, I think. So.
Yeah, something like that.
So this one takes that second cheat down for card disadvantage from your opponent. So they have to put a card to the bottom, and there's no restriction on how many cards they have to have in hand for that effect.
This is also only a 4K though for 7. So in a vacuum, ignoring the free play ability, if you can't make the conditions because it's later into the game, and you are somehow in a different position, it is swinging underneath most leaders. So that is something to note, where it's not a viable attacker for the majorative, at least standalone.
Well,
for the extra discard.
Rebecca also was a 4,000 attacker. That's what's very
Wasn't
comparable.
Rebecca cheaper though?
No, she's a 7-drop.
Okay.
Yeah, so she was a 7-drop 4,000. She cheats down, I think, a 7-drop and a 4-drop. So you get 2 bodies, but in this one you get 1 body. So
I guess that really questions how worth is a single discard.
that's a valid point. And the other question would be, how good are the Alabasta cards, right? We have this one here, which so she could cheat down a drop, 9,000 attacker. But how good, pound for pound, are the Alabasta cards? Because
so there's not a lot of cards that you can play off of this. Ideally, you could do a chain here. You could play the 5-drop, the new VV from the Heroine set. That plays a Straw Hat off of its on-play trigger. It's a sort of similar effect to this one, but it has blocker. Or you could play the 8-cost Banish Luffy. You could play the 7-drop VV that gives all your 3-cost or more characters rush.
But the issue with that, though, is she can't play another VV.
Oh, that's right. She can't play VV. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so she's restricted to only non-VV characters that are Alabasta.
Okay. I guess you couldn't change. That makes it even more narrow.
Yeah, it's like you could do a Chaka and Pell. That's like pretty okay. But besides that, I don't know. Like, you
want double attack or banish?
Yeah. And I can't remember. Does the VV take any Dawn? The new one?
No, it just says play up to 1 Alabasta or Straw Hat with a 5 or less.
No, I'm talking about the leader. To give it rush.
Oh.
Yeah, I think you just rest her and then your card. So technically you can on 7 play this VV. So that would be your 4th turn. You play this VV, you get to shoot down Chaka and Pell. And then I believe you could make this Chaka and Pell have rush on your 7 Dawn turn. Which is like really, that's like your best line with VV, I think. And you make them go down a card. But is that worth the investment? I don't know. I guess
that's one hell of a turn, but is that winning against most boards, considering that is something you're going to have to set up for, you're going to have to drill into for the most part if you want to achieve this or make VV worth? And
well, I guess in that situation, I guess if you're doing this, you're technically netting 0, right? Because you play her, you cheat down Chaka and Pell, you draw 2 cards off the on play of him.
You're technically negating your opponent 1.
You're negating your card. Yeah, your opponent 1, but you're
negating your opponent 1, then plussing 2 because the draw cards.
Yeah,
because you're not losing resources by trading them to the board. They're still on the field. They're usable for later.
Yeah, but card advantage wise, you basically at 0 because you go down 2, you go up 2. So this actually is not terrible if you put them together, which I'm assuming is what they intended to occur. But
right.
I'm just worried about what other options you have. Because that means you have to run 4 of these to get that to fire off consistently.
Yeah.
Do we have any other Alabasta leaders besides Vivi?
No.
For the most part, no. Right? She typically...
Crocodile's not Alabaster either?
I don't think so. Let's look it up here. No, he's not.
Okay.
Yeah, it would have to be like a very old crocodile. I don't think none of them are.
Yeah, no, I just looked it up. It's just the 2 VVs.
Yeah. So you have her. Like I said, so it doesn't cost anything. You can technically just do that. On your 7 dawn turn, you play BV into Chaka. But there's not even in this set there's that many Alabastas. There's her, but she's a VV, so she doesn't count. And
yeah, the only solid piece to really play that I looked up is the 8 costs Luffy that has Banish. She's at 9k. And other than that, you would just play Chaka and Pell, I think.
So you could also go into Nami, because she came out in the last set.
Yeah, but that's not strong enough of a reason.
Yeah, so you're playing a 7-drop and a 5-drop.
Yeah, for 7. So realistically, by itself, the VV is worth 4, I would think, for the effect of a 4K that's on play, discard a card. So, I mean, you're kind of getting still an advance on that, but that's having to have the setup because that trait is so conditionally restrictive.
Yeah, and you only draw 1 card, so you're still technically, you're going -1 in hand. And I don't remember what set the original VV was from. Was that OP2?
3.
3?
No. 4. OP4.
Yeah. So all these Alabasta cards are about ready to rotate.
Yep.
They're block 1.
Which includes that Luffy.
Yeah, you have the Banish Luffy. So I kind of worried that this card is not going to be relevant, at least until we come back at a later date. Then she might be worth it. I mean, because of the current card pool after rotation, like, she just doesn't have it.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean in the future we'll revisit and have a bunch of Alabasta stuff again.
I think we're seeing that a lot with some of the spoilers that we've seen out of EBO4, because it was the same thing with the King and the Kaido that we looked at last week, right? Or the week before last week, right? Those cards also just don't seem like they have a leader that fits them right now. So I think we're kind of in that zone of like, we're seeing a lot of these extra booster cards that are like future-proofing leaders that haven't quite hit the field yet.
Yeah, so maybe we'll find Alabasta. The issue is, like, I don't even know when would they hit that as a set, because OP14 we know is going to be 7 Warlords. 15 is going to be just Rosa and
Sky Island.
OP16 is going to be Marineford. So, like, it's like, when are you hitting an Alabasta? Unless there's going to be a set where there's a bunch of Alabasta stuff.
Or they might crackpot tinfoil hat theory here. Make a separate format.
Yeah, they will. I think they did say they were going to do that.
Yeah, we're going to get an eternal format. We just don't know what it looks like or if it's going to be supported at all or whatever.
Well, I mean, I guess technically, if they're not gonna do another Alabasta set, then I guess they will support it with, I guess, stuff like this. But interesting. But going on to the most important card of the actual episode, Foxy. I mean, he's a weird character, right? Because I don't think a lot of people like him from the show. He's just really obnoxious. But man, is he fun to say, right? Foxy.
Well, not only that, but he is one of the more intelligent devil fruit users that we see in the show. His devil fruit is inherently not the most powerful, but he figures out all these different tricks and ways of abusing it. So,
also the leader I don't know. This card feels like a weird piece for the leader. Not that like any pieces are like to be scoffed at for a deck like Foxy because it needs all the help that it can get. But I don't know. Like I love the fact that it adds Dawn back because it helps you stay parity. But I feel like what's the 7-drop Foxy? I feel like you still kind of lean more into that card, right?
I feel like you play them both, right?
I mean, obviously you play both, but this card just what's the 7-drop. I feel like I would rather stack up a bunch of copies of the 7-drop Foxy than see like even more than like one of these. Like I feel like you play like this. This is like a really weird flex piece type of card.
Well, I think it makes a lot of sense in the context of Foxy, right? Because he minus a 3 Dawn, the leader ability does. And getting Dawn back makes a lot of sense in that context, even late in the game. But just so
it's the same. Go ahead.
I was just going to read the card out because for the people listening to it, not on YouTube. So it's a 8-drop 9,000 and Foxy on play Dawn -1. If your leader is Foxy type, and you may draw 2, trash 1 from hand. Then you may rest up to one of your opponent's characters with the cost of 9 or less. Activate main once per turn. You may add 1 Dawn from your Dawn deck. Rest it. Now, so that's the card that we're talking about right now. So you had some more opinions on the 7 and 8 difference.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say the activate main is the same effect that's on the 7-drop. So they both have that going for them. So it's nice. Like you could see them like ideally, I think the design here is you go 7-drop when you get your 7 Dawn turn, you get your 8-drop on your 9 Dawn turn, whatever. But I don't know. I think this effect is good, but I still think I would rather see another copy of the Foxy because like they're gonna swing their big guys, right? Like it's nice to be able to force a rest on them for especially things like against like Nine Beards and stuff like that against Ace and whatnot, right? And Katakuris, for sure. But I don't know. I feel like this is like another one of those like we talked about with the carrot, where like this is very well designed to be like a 2-0 type of card. Like you play 4 of your 7-drop Foxy and you play like 2, maybe 3 of this card.
I don't know about that.
I just have to check. Is Sanji pudding still legal right now, or
yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, I think in most case scenarios, I'd rather just be playing the cheaper card with a little bit of bigger downside that will fill this card's role way earlier and accelerate more of the game.
Well, so the issue with that is the one thing I've noticed with when I was playing Foxy was you do need 3 Foxy pirate members to use the ability, and so oftentimes like the deck you do try to fit Magellan in because you kind of have to because it's really needed in this meta. Honestly, I kind of wish they just printed this Foxy was just a Magellan. It would be probably the best case thing they could have done. But the problem now, I think, is just that Foxy has gone too many sets without any support. Enough support to where it's kind of like gone. And it makes me kind of sad. Because like even though I was looking at it back at the EB03, I'm like, how hard would it have been to add like one Porsche, right? Like they could have added Foxy support throughout multiple EB sets. And maybe he would have been actually could have used this card more, but now he's like so far behind on his card quality compared to other decks that I don't know if this one card is going to do it. Even though I love Foxy.
Give it time. Give it time. I think we might see more Foxy than sooner than later.
I hope.
Maybe not a Foxy leader, but definitely more Foxy support.
I hope, because what the set is looking like, it seems like every single leader is getting doubles, right? You have King, Kaido, both for Animal Pirates. You have a couple of Alabastas. You have a couple Minks. And then you have a couple Fishmen. So maybe we will be seeing another Foxy in this set too. Like they're giving us two of them.
Totally.
And I would think that that could be pretty sweet if they give us a rare Foxy, because we have a super rare VV with a rare Chaka and Pell. Maybe they'll give us a rare Foxy or rare Porsche. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that's the case. Because he really does need the help, and he's actually a very interesting leader in general. He's like a purple
Totally.
He's a purple stoppy deck that wants to rest things down like Carrot.
He's a super cool off-meta leader in the sense that like he's one of those leaders that like going into the right meta, he can be super duper debilitating. Like I remember when Dofi was like really popping off, like this like that's a very hard matchup for Dofi to win against Foxy, because like any leader that needs to have like a regular when attacking trigger going off, this Foxy just decimates, man. So I think it's a cool leader to have like around in the meta as like a sort of boogeyman to keep those types of decks in check.
What do you have to say about Repreach?
I want to know what the new Corazon does.
The new... Which card?
Right next to it.
The Rosante in Law? Oh, we're gonna get that. We're definitely gonna get into that one next. So yeah, I definitely think this leader Foxy's good. Like I think it's gonna show up as a 3 of. If I had to guess, with 4 copies of the 7-drop Foxy, and that's kind of like the end of your late game, and you're kind of okay with that, just because you have so many ways of just bringing the Dawn back after using your leader ability. So I think that's gonna be pretty fine. It's searchable, so you're not gonna be really mad about the Foxy. But sadly, they could have also just gave it a 1K counter. I mean, it's only for Foxy. You could have just gave it a 1K counter. Just saying. I know it's a bit much, but so now for all the Laker Rosazante fans out there, we have Rosazante in Law coming into the
This
chat.
card goes crazy.
A 6-drop, 8,000 attacker. It's Wisdom, I think, and it's not Slash. It's Special, right? Yeah, Special and Wisdom. So under the rules of the game, this card is treated as named Trafalgar Law and also Rosazante. So it works in the Laker Rosazante deck. It's a blocker on play. If the number of Dawns on your field is equal to or less than your opponent's, you could draw 1 card, then set one of your Dawn card from your Dawn deck as set as active. So if you have less Dawn or equal to your Dawn opponent's Dawn, you basically draw 1 card and ramp 1 as active. So what do you guys think about Rosazante and Law? Is this card actually going to see play outside of Laker Rosazante? What do you guys think?
I don't think so. I think this is like totally a very narrow card designed for that specific leader. But my first initial thought when I saw this card this morning was like, this is probably my favorite card that they've ever printed in this game from an art standpoint. My favorite card still has never been topped to be 10 drop extra turn Luffy, but as far as like art wise, this is my favorite card. I think
it's such a heartbreaking moment. There's so many of that stuff in One Piece in total. Yeah. I think
real talk.
I think I'm gonna take the opposite take here. I think that this card has such a diverse amount of text between blocker and adding a Dawn, which is just such a universally good mechanic, and then it draws to replace itself. There is no way that this card on average is going to be something in a deck that you could not put in. But the question is it going to fit for that deck in specific? I think looking at a Foxy build, considering we're just looking at that, the ability to add a Dawn if you're down is incredibly strong. If you're looking at any purple deck, just the 1 Dawn acceleration, yeah, there's going to be a whole bunch of that running around, but it's not going to be something that you're actively going to go, I can't run this card in this deck. There's going to be many things that you can just slot this in, especially since it does specifically have that Navy trait, which is fairly common, as most One Piece sets are going to have something that say Navy.
That's true, but we have yet to find. I don't think there's been that many navies in purple yet.
Not unfortunately today.
Now the question, I guess, more is: could this card show up in Dofi, right? The new OP14 leader.
Totally.
Because I mean, I guess how often in Dofi do you think you're going to be equal to or behind in Dofi?
I've not played enough with the deck, so I don't really have a fair shot at saying one way or another.
Because usually your 4 Dawn turn, you do ramp. So like that means you have to ramp and then fall into it. You would have to use your leader ability to go down 1, to redirect attack. So like I kind of don't think this would be very playable in the deck. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, because you would need a lot more Dawn minus effects for this to be playable. I mean, it's searchable for him, but I'm not sure if it's able to get the ability to go off. Because the leaders that consistently could do it, I don't think will touch this. I mean, I know for a fact, Grape Luffy can't touch it. I mean, because they have to have all Straw Hats, I think. And the other deck that's consistently low in Dawn, of course, is Reiju. And Reiju, I don't think would ever touch this either. Those are the two, I think, in purple that play with their Dawn the most.
I don't think Grape Dofi really wants the card, let alone what's coming forward.
Wait,
I just don't know what you would take out.
Did I say Grape Luffy or Dofi?
You said Grape Luffy. I looked at Dofi.
Yeah. Okay, I was like, did I say it wrong?
No, you didn't. I'm just.
The other possibility, I guess, technically, Sanji. Because technically his ability does go minus. You would have to do it before you attack, of course. To put you back up 1 Dawn. But if you could minus your Dawn enough in Sanji. But I don't think it has room for it. Because you have the new Reiju. Which is super sweet.
Like I said, I don't think there's a deck that necessarily you don't want this effect in. It's the question of if it's better than the stuff that already exists. Like with the Sanji, you're definitely running Sanji and Pudding instead of this.
No, I mean, Sanji and Pudding requires you to go down -2 Dawn.
Oh, then
for the trigger to happen.
Yeah.
Which is why it's ran in Grape Luffy and very few other decks, because most decks could only Dawn -1. They don't really Dawn -2 often. So, I mean, I am kind of curious how this card could pull off in other decks. It's just, I don't think Sugar could play it. And the other Doflamingo, Grape Doflamingo, I don't think he Dawn minuses at all, except by maybe events. So, I don't know. I think it's probably going to be pretty fine for Rosante. Laker Rosante. Yeah, because it's going to be a 4-drop. 8K. You're definitely going to be happy with that. So.
Yeah, this is a huge card for them. As I said, I think this card's pretty narrow in its design for that. Like the splashable effect is nice. I just think there's other cards that ramp, and that if you'd rather play on your 6-on turn in most purple decks. The fact that his blocker is nice, but like I feel like I would rather go down and Dawn and play a Queen over this. But
that's true.
Yeah, 6-1. I think it's pretty definitely a solid like new piece for that Resonante, and totally puts it like on the map. Maybe like definitely gives it a piece to where like it's not gonna like blow anybody away, but it's playable now.
So I mean, I guess technically there is some knocks to this card, even in regards to Rosante. For one, it's not a supernova, right? Because supernova, it kind of needs it for the yellow 7-drop Rosante, because you need to reveal a supernova to be able to gain a life. So it doesn't really work with that, which is kind of awkward. And the deck already plays a lot of bricks. This is just another brick. So that's another concern I would have. Those two pieces. I feel like there's a lot of bricks in Rosante when I played it just recently. So maybe you just play a bunch of zero drop events to compensate for the bricks. But
do you think we'll be getting a purple law card coming sometime soon?
As a leader?
Yes.
I mean, we just
wait. There already is a. There's a grape law too.
No, there's a red purple law that got banned, and then they printed a promo one. That one's not really playable though, sadly. It's also kind of weird that this technically doesn't count as a Heart Pirates, even though it's it's a young law, so I guess it doesn't count, but it is a little more awkward too.
Yeah. So we don't really get to play off the fact that it's double named to fit into a deck that runs for both.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is more for a Rodzante, I think, deck. Style deck, or a Doflamingo pirate type. Maybe if we get a navy purple, maybe it'll be good. We also got Jenny.
Yeah.
You have anything else to say about this card?
Oh no, I didn't have anything. Sorry.
Okay. So next we have Jenny, which I didn't even know. I don't recognize her at all from the show. Maybe I'm crazy. But she's a one drop.
She is.
She's like featured when we first are reintroduced into Sabo, isn't she?
No, she's sorry. I was like, I paused because I was like, maybe this is like spoiler territory for people who I'm called it. But she is very recently featured in the anime in the Egghead arc because she's from the flashback of like Kuma's backstory with the Revolutionary Army. This is Bonnie's mother.
Okay. And I think wasn't she showcased when they showed Sabo and how he trained when he first got to the army? Because he was
maybe.
I'm pretty sure we did.
Yeah, but
I'm pretty sure he was. I thought he was training with Koala, but maybe I'm mistaken.
No, it is
because Jenny. So that couldn't actually. That it's definitely not because Jenny. This is where we're getting into spoiler territory. Jenny would have been dead by the time Sabo was in the Revolutionary Army.
Yeah, that would track. Memory must be hazy on me here, Kebbs.
I mean, I just watched I just watched a short when showing Sabo being about around this like age of 13, and he was training with Kuma and stuff like that, which would have been before Bonnie be born because Bonnie is only 13 in the show. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, we're definitely going off track. So she just
never trust One Piece and mothers being alive still. It doesn't have the greatest track with that.
Unless it's Croc Mom, right?
Yeah, unless it's Croc Mom.
Yeah.
Or Big Mom. Don't forget, Big Mom's still around.
Maybe.
Allegedly.
Maybe. So she's a 1-drop 2000 attack, 2000 counter, activate main. You may rest this character. We have 2 or more characters with the cost of 8 or more. Up to 1 of your revolutionary type characters or leaders or characters get plus 1000 power for the turn. I feel like they were so close with this card. So close.
They had to add the cost 8 or more restriction.
No.
Yep.
That was fine. Where I think the hiccup comes is it should either been a Dawn. You attach a Dawn for the turn, rest the Dawn. Or 2, it should have been they get it until you're into your opponent's instep. I think just 1,000, 1K for the turn is just not enough of a boost. What do you guys think?
I don't know. It's nice to get that extra bump in power. But I don't know. I think this is just a nice functional 2K, right? Like I like 2Ks that don't do too much, right? That if you feel like playing it to stick a character on the board that you can throw some Dawn on and swing with, or just leave it sitting there for that little buff effect later, it's nice to have, but it's not something that's going to break the bank that you need to like make sure you have on board. So it's like, it's a 2K that you don't mind pitching, but if you have it, it's nice, right? Like I like cards that are like that over 2Ks that are just vanillas, or 2Ks that are like so good that you don't want to pitch them, like 2K Sanji or whatever, right?
Yeah, I totally understand that. I mean, I don't think she's inherently a bad card. My opinion would, I think they could have made it a little bit more pumped. Just a little bit. Because I think it attaching a Dawn instead of gains 1,000 power for the turn is just slightly better. Because you have characters and leaders that care about having a Dawn.
Having Dawn. Yeah,
it is a
sure.
one cost, so I don't really think it needs all that much more for the pump to be more powerful. But I think taking until you have 2 or more characters with a... Wait, let me just double check that I'm saying this right.
Yeah,
you need 2 or more 8 costs or higher to have this card function. That means this card is not doing its active on-stage effect until very late in the game.
Well, keep in mind that Koala and Sabo have cards that they're 4-drop and they get +4 in cost. So they're technically...
That's what I was going to say.
There's some synergies with it. And Black does a lot of cost
it's mostly going to be
in
cheated.
general.
Yeah, so...
That too.
Yeah, so
I'd still think that cost 8 or more kind of limits the card a little too far out.
See, that's actually my reason. That's my reason why they could have amped up the bonus to either to have it to be not just to end a turn, but to end of your opponent's end step, or make it Arrested Dawn. Those two have been slight upgrades to make it more. It's worth it because you need 2 A costs. So like it's.
I think if this was a 3K, if this was a 3K character, or it said like give Arrested Dawn and give your leader 1,000 power for the turn, this card would be a little bit more better rated for like the modern meta. You know what I mean? But
then
I don't know. I think it's asking a lot of a 1-drop. I think it's asking a lot for a 1-drop.
No, I'm not saying I'm not saying one or it's one or the other, right? Not both. I'm saying either you make this either one of your your army type leader or character cards get +1,000 until the end of
turn.
Yeah, until your opponent's
it gets 2K for the turn.
No, not 2K.
Not 2K?
No, it would get rid of the 1+ counter. It would just give Arrested Dawn instead. Because Arrested Dawn is +1,000 power. But it's just slightly better because there's things that care about having Dawn on them when they attack, or like Sabo cares about having a Dawn to use his +1,000 power. So, but I think that's. You guys have anything else to say about Jenny?
Wait 2 more sets. We'll get a cost 6 or more, and I will be smiling.
But that's the last card for Black. Now we're going into Yellow. So this is where a lot of the best cards from the set spoiled came from. So we have Sanji, a 4-drop 4,000 +1K counter. When attacking, this character's base power becomes the same as your opponent's leader for this turn. On KO, if your opponent has if you have 2 or less life, play up to 1 yellow character with a 6,000 power or less from your hand. What do you guys think about Sanji?
I don't know. I like that he gets to attack for free with no Dawn investment, right? Like you just get to match whatever you're swinging into. So whatever Dawn you throw in, you're just getting that for free, which is super tight. And the fact that it has counter is crazy. The on KO is nice in the fact that he replaces himself, but I kind of would love to see this card more so in like the new yellow Luffy that got spoiled. But I think this card is way infinitely better in the in just regular old Vegapunk.
Yeah, so in that regard, I think this card is inherently bad in that Luffy deck because you get to get to 2 or less life for the K on KO. But I guess it's fine because you technically are fine with like a 4 drop 6,000 or 7,000 because you've. Wait a minute. If you tech into Roger, does this become a 7K base power? Even if it has the minus 2,000?
No, it would just be the same as your opponent's leader. Is the minus 2,000?
That's a question.
Yeah, no, it would be. Yeah, it would be whatever his power is.
Because whatever his active power is,
base
right?
power. Yeah, it does. The card doesn't specify base power.
Are you wait? I thought it said base power.
No, it just said whatever your opponent's leader's power is.
Base power. Oh, its base power comes. Yeah.
Yeah, his base power. Right.
Yeah, so he'd be a 5 or a 7 potentially.
But that's pretty good into shit like a buffed off of like a event buffed ace or something like that, you know.
True, because if they do I am Whitebeard +2, then play Whitebeard +2, there's a 10k ace that swings in there for 10. Not too shabby.
Yep, for 4. And no Dawn investment.
Yes, pretty good card there. At least for the aggressive side. I do like the fact that this is probably going to be very good into the Bonnie leader. The new one. Seems like it's a pretty good fit there because it seems like they're going a different direction with yellow to where they kind of want you to gain the life so that when you could take the life, it's their way of pseudo draw, which is a little interesting. We'll talk about that in a second. With the future
my lights died. I didn't notice.
But yeah, so I do think this card actually is quite strong. And you're right, probably in Vegapunk also is pretty decent. Really any Egghead and potentially Straw Hat. So like, I mean, in Luffy, it's not as good. You can't get the on KO for quite some time because he starts at 6k life. But once you get down to 2 life, this equal to. So.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of weird though that his number 2 on his team are both 4 drops in his deck. I don't know. That seems a little weird to me. I would like to have a big Sanji, but
I mean, this is a big Sanji. It's as big as you need Sanji.
This is true.
Yeah, literally.
I think the only way of describing this card is lose 1 life. Because this card is going to do that majority of the time as long as you can get them to use their resources in a threshold. It is going to get through regardless of the situation. Because on defense on ties, you do just take the life.
Yeah, and it is perfect in that regard for at least for competitive players, because most of the time you want to swing with initial attacks with the least amount of dawn possible to get as much information as possible. And this not needing any dawn to get at parity with your opponent's leader means you get a lot of information if they want to counter out or not.
I mean, if you pump 2 dawn onto this, I don't think there's many situations where your opponent can get around the when attacking part.
And that's not even including at the very end, like getting that last hit across. You put all the dawn on this, and then you swing in. It's a 7k because you swung into a Roger plus the additional 10 dawn.
It doesn't matter how many buffs they've already put on it. It's game over.
Yeah.
It's also got to be noted that this thing does. I mean, the card's already gassed as hell from the 2 abilities that are written directly on it. But also having a counter means that there is not a situation this card can just be useless.
It's true. It's actually quite strong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is the best yellow card, and I thought the other card was the best.
I mean, it's also in Straw Hat. There's so many different things that can synergize off of that. It's not like it's a rare trade either.
That is true.
So now, this card's just doing a lot.
So moving on, we have 3 more cards to cover. We have 2 Kumas. First one is a 7-drop 7,000 plus 1,000 counter. On play, if you have 2 or less life, Add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to your life. So it's just a 7-drop heal one. Um, Weirdly enough, it possibly is just better than the 6-drop Kuma, because that one you have to go down 1 card in hand. But on KO, add up to 1 card from the top of your opponent's life to their owner's hand. So when it does get KO'd, they take a life. So pretty good stuff here. What do you guys think about this Kuma?
The art's sick. I wish that the stat line was a little better. I think 7/7 for what it does is like sort of
with only 1K counter too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like 1K is fine. Like the fact that it has counters is a nice buff, I suppose. But I guess my beef with the card is just we're seeing a lot of on KO with the new again stuff and not a lot of like ways to pop them on our own effects. So like I don't know. I think this card is just kind of like on the middling side of things, especially since it's another like if you have 2 or less and you can't cheat this with Vegapunk, like you can't cheat it in. So
and there's not really an active way that you could sabotage this off the board with like a block or a character sack effect that would matter, or intentionally trying to swing your opponent's tax into this card with an event.
Yeah, so the plus thing it has going for it, I think it's a fair budget-friendly version of the 6-drop Kuma. So if you're not,
what rarity is it at?
What?
What rarity is this card getting at? Because if
it's a rare. This one's a rare. The other one's a secret rare. The 6-drop Kuma, which is like $30. So if you can't really afford this $30 Kuma, maybe you slot this one instead. But the downside, I guess, with this one is over the other Kuma is it doesn't really work as good in Koala because you have 8-drop Dragon, and it cheats down it reanimates a 6-drop. So this being a 7-drop does make that a little more awkward, but it is kind of flavorful. The on KO works with Koala is also kind of a life burn deck, so it kind of like works there, but at the same time it doesn't really work with Dragon. That's like the biggest knock.
Mm-hmm.
You have anything else to say about this Kuma?
I wish that it just trashed the life too. I think that's another thing that kind of makes this card sort of middling is the fact that it gives your opponent that life instead of just like trashing it straight away. I feel like this card would be a lot better if it just said, "Oh, you pop this, trash a life."
Yeah, I mean,
especially for a 7/7 stat line. If this said 7/9 and give your opponent a life when it died, I'd be like, okay. But the fact that it's 7/7 and they get to draw the life, I'm like, I feel like there's better cards you could play at 7.
And it just drop a life in that way on KO. If it was on play as well, I don't think there's really that much of a complaint for the underpowered stat line.
Yeah, if it was like on play, if you got a choice of gaining a life or trashing theirs, like with like a 7-drop, that's a good parallel, right? 7-drop big bomb. Same idea. Like, do you want to trash a life or do you want me to gain a life? Same question on this card, but then with the added effect of being able to do it again on KO.
Oh yeah, that would be a lot more stronger for sure. For 7K, you could argue maybe that his current stats, abilities, he should be an AK. Just a slight bump. Mm-hmm. I don't think it would break too much. So I can see that being a good argument. So next we have another Kuma, but this Kuma, people are kind of excited for it for a different deck. So we have the older Kuma when he was younger, 4-drop 5,000, counter 1K, on KO, play up to 1 revolutionary army type character with a cost of 4 or less from your hand. Trigger if your leader has the revolutionary army type and your opponent have a total of 5 life or less, play this card. So people are excited about this for Bella Betty more so than anything else. What do you guys think?
Oh yeah, this card's cracked in Betty. It's got counter, punishes you for popping it, and it gets to play itself for free on the life. It's a 4-drop 8K. This card's super cracked in Betty.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it shows up anywhere outside of that.
Yeah. I guess Koala could play around with it. I just don't think it's very good in Koala.
Yeah, because Koala actually cares about having 8 cost characters. Unlike Sabo can care either way about it, but Koala does care because her ability requires it to draw. So like it is an awkward position there, and it does kind of conflict with the other 4-drop Kuma. That's a 2K counter. I think it also has a trigger where you can play it. If I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
I think this is good for copies 5 through 8 of that Kuma, but. And we have one more card to talk about.
It's just a bigger body.
Yeah. Isn't it a bigger body? I thought they're both 4-drop 5Ks.
The other Kuma, it's the one. It's a bigger counter. I mean
yeah, it's a 2K.
The other Kuma is a 2K.
Yeah,
the 2K is the 1K.
But I think they're the same body size.
They are.
Yeah. So we have one more card to talk about, which I don't know if it's. I thought originally it was the best card in yellow ever printed, but I could be wrong. Especially after getting talked into Sanji more, that actually might be better.
You sold the man.
Yeah, you sold me on Sanji.
Yeah, that Sanji's cracked.
So we have Borsalino. 5-drop 6,000, special attacker, 1+1,000 attacker, blocker, on play if you have 2 or less life, add up to 1 card from top of your deck to your top of your life. So this is like pretty solid. Like you don't need any extra effects, and a 6,000 blocker is already fine rated, which I guess proves the point. Why is this so much lower when this is very similar when they're on plays? And this is at the same stat that
you also can look at the Sanji. The Sanji has its effect on KO as a 4 cost.
Yeah.
For that same conditioning. So when you compare between those 3 different cards, it's very interesting how it's still a 2 or less at 5 cost. I mean, it is an overpowered stat line for a blocker, but we have seen this type of card from Borsalino in the past.
So,
that's relatively common for him as a blocker, but having the additional on play of gaining a life is going to be an actual impact.
Yeah, so
I think what makes this card crazy is just the fact that if you're playing Vegapunk turn 1, you just automatically go 3 life. I have a 6K blocker. Pass.
Yeah, that is the best line you can get with Vegapunk. Now, a lot of people are talking about this more for Starve Yellow, because they kind of just want to, on turn 10, they want to play a 5-drop, gain a life, like an Enel, and then just kind of use the rest of the Dawn to get in and attack. So, like, there is that potential this is actually just good as a Starve card in yellow.
I mean, at base, it blocks most leaders that aren't getting pumped. So your opponent has to use their Dawn to try to push through a play. Otherwise, this is just going to block for free.
Yeah, so the only awkward part about this card is there's no way to give your opponent life. If there's a scenario where they might have a Roger, but that's a different story. Like you could prevent yourself getting out of Roger range, by just gaining a life here and going to 2 or 3, or even to 1 life. So that's a possibility. So you can get out of the Roger where they don't get the attack trigger, so you can block. So that's kind of nice about this card. And plus, it resets your Enel if you're at 0 life.
So, I mean, though, looking at it, What matchups besides Sabo would be running that with what currently stands, which is not typically a great way of measuring a card, but with what currently stands around from what we can see would implement this? What are we going to have to fear that's going to be running the Roger?
The Roger. Oh, you're talking about the 10. We're talking about the 10 drop Roger.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not. I'm not sure. So like, it would have to be a situation where they attacked previously with big bodies, got you to 0, and they didn't have enough Dawn. They passed. So now you're at 0. You need to get to 1 to get so they can't use Roger again. That would be the scenario. Or if you're in a Nell, if you got 0, then this resets your once per turn ability. So you kind of gain 2 life if you're at 0.
So there's not many situations where that Roger interaction is really going to matter so much as if the card. I mean, it's an instant interaction that's going to happen, but it's not something that's going to be a real detriment to the card as a choice.
Yeah. So what I was talking about earlier, you guys think this is the path they're going forward with yellow? So if they gave a bunch of cards like her, we talked about last week, I think, where her ability is just to basically draw a card from life. Is their plan going forward just having cards that allow you to draw cards from life, and cards like this where it allows you to just to gain life and stay at 2? Because if you think about it, if you're at 2 life, you go to 3, you draw the card from Bonnie, you're back at 2. So it's kind of just a free card draw, kind of. Is that their way about of giving yellow some sort of card draw?
It very well could be, but at the same time, I think because of how the mechanics of the game work for the most part, trying to instantaneously draw a card by dealing damage to yourself when these damage is kind of temperate and enables you to make other plays but still puts you in a debt hole, you could just heal naturally through the ways that you're playing these cards rather than accelerate into that heal to make it a worth effect.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're right. The only time it's really ever worth it is if you're at 2, you use Borsellino, go to 3, use Bonnie to go down to 2 to play another Borsellino on 10 Dawn, then you're back at 3, you have 2 blockers. That would be the only situation, I guess, where that would be like really kind of nice. Otherwise, you'd probably rather just stay at 3 than drawing that card, because you're going to draw it anyways, and it's probably going to be a trigger. No, since it is yellow. So, and weirdly enough, it could potentially be pretty good. Then again, it's probably not a situation where this card is probably not all that good in yellow Luffy, because he starts at 6 life. So it's going to be very tricky to go down to 2. So I don't think he's going to be.
No, I think this is very much a Vegapunk card.
Yeah. So I think it probably is going to be an Enel card, Vegapunk, and probably a Bonnie card, if I had to guess. Because I can't think of any other Starve leaders off the top of my head other than Enel. Yeah, because the Calgera wouldn't want it. I'm trying to think what other yellow leaders there is. Kid cares about supernovas mainly, and what other yellow leader is? I suppose
any yellow deck could really be a Starve leader, but I think this is, like I said, this is pretty narrowly designed for Vegapunk. I mean, you could play it with the new Bonnie, but doesn't have triggers, so it makes it awkward in that list.
I don't think she cares about triggers.
The new Bonnie? Or not that Bonnie, the other yellow Bonnie.
Yeah. That one does, 13. Yes. But I was talking about this one.
Right.
I was talking about Bonnie.
I mean, yeah, I suppose you could play it in that one. I feel like that Bonnie obviously is pretty more designed, obviously, for it too. But I'm just spitballing, thinking of like yellow leaders that could possibly even want to play it.
Good point. I mean, there's probably maybe this leader, maybe Sanji is the best card, and we have been talked into what powerhouse the Sanji is going to be. Interesting to note.
Yeah, that card's super solid.
And it's a rare, so hopefully it's not too expensive. From EB set.
Easy.
So
hopefully it gets a sick alt art.
Oh, I hope it does get a sick alt art. It should. I mean, especially if they know it's going to be a powerhouse card, they should definitely give it an alt art.
Let's say the new Borsalino art is more along the lines of what Sanji should look like. The big kick.
Yes. It'd be funny if it'd be a lot sweeter if did they ever kick each other in a scene?
I don't think they've ever fought. They've never fought.
I mean, Sanji kicked his light beam.
That's true. Yeah, he did.
But I don't think they've ever crash into each other fighting.
Yeah, not like him and Dofi that one time.
Yeah, because that would have been a very sick artwork if they ever could pull that off. Where one of them, Sanji is kicking Borsalino, and Borsalino's alternate art is kicking Sanji. Oh, and you put them side by side, and you just see the show. That would be a sweet way of going about it. Bandai, write that down. I want to see that.
Write that down.
Because like Magic the Gathering has it where they have like they print like a whole scene across multiple cards. It'd be so sweet if they had the all arts kind of like that, where you could put the two all arts next to each other and it makes a scene. That would be so awesome. But that's a different story. Do you have anything else you guys want to talk about regarding these spoilers before we call it a podcast?
No, I think that's it. I mean, I think we're getting a lot of super interesting new pieces across the board for a lot of different art types. I like that our new pieces have not just been Straw Hat, Big Mom Pirates, like the same stuff we've been seeing, like not more support for Emu. They didn't, take a page out of left field and do something crazy like that. Not more Zoro support. Like it's been support for leaders that I feel like a lot of people really enjoy and wanting to see more stuff out of for a really long time. So I think that's like where I'm most excited about this new set going into it. I think the leaders and stuff that we're seeing are a lot of flex pieces too. So it's creating a very like diverse meta as far as what our options are going to look like, especially post rotation. So I'm excited, and the art has just been straight gas. Like One Piece art is always gas, but like I think this batch that came out today especially has been super gas.
Agree. What do you think about Repreach regarding all the
I think we're just getting some samples of some goods. I think that they're going to hold back some of the really big powerhouses until later. Testing the community's reaction, seeing what the brewers are coming up with preamble, and just seeing if they made a big oomph before they slam it down in our laps and the players start screaming.
Right.
They're teasing us, damn it. They're teasing us.
Yeah, I mean, technically there was one other card we did not cover. It's only because this website doesn't have it, and that is the new 7-drop Kid. Technically it was spoiled. We'll get to him hopefully next week on the podcast.
He looks sick too.
Yeah, I think he's designed for Block 2 Kid as a leader. So that is a very interesting.
Nice.
So like we haven't never really gotten support for that leader. And it's kind of weird that we're now starting to get it. But I do think that's gonna be pretty awesome.
I'm also a huge fan of some of the reprint artwork that they've shown off too. In particular, the new Weevil artwork is insane looking. Love that card. I'm a big Dofi enjoyer, so the new Weevil is tight. The new Zoro is super cool too.
Yeah, that's technically the artwork I was talking about. technically spoils the new kid over here. It's kind of a weird kid though, like a 7-drop AK, ramp 1 Dawn, and then just as active, and then you could trash him and play a 5-drop. It's very weird. Very weird card.
I think it's neat.
Yeah, it's definitely for...
You trash it, play 5-drop kid.
Is it kid or... I think it's killer, I think. Isn't it?
It says kid pirates. So
I was thinking of the blocker kid.
I think killer's the one that restands something. If I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong.
Could be. I'm not really familiar with his
Drop
kid.
the unicorn kid and just make everybody cry. God.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure killer, 5-drop killer. There's a 5-drop killer that allows you to restand your leader and allows you to retack. Yeah, here it is. So the 5,000 kit killer, Dawn -1, set up to one of your kid pirate type leader as active. So that way you can swing with the AK, sack it, put this down, restand your leader after attacking with it already, and swing again. And I believe the kid leader gets humongous, if I'm not mistaken. But pretty interesting stuff there.
What about the rest kid? No, the old green kid. What's his cost?
You're talking about the one that restands himself?
No, I'm talking about the one that makes everybody attack into him.
Oh, there's 2 of them. One's a 5-drop, green one, and there's a 8-drop.
So one of them actually can be dropped off this kid.
If you're playing purple and green.
Yes.
Yeah. But
does either of those cards require exactly your leader to be a kid pirates?
Yeah. But it's meant for this one because then you can attack once. Now he's a 7k lead. Then you swing with your AK kid, and then you sack it, trash it, put the killer down, restand the kid, swing again, Dawn -1 again. Now he's a 9k lead swinging. So that's kind of what he's meant to be. Spicy stuff there. Here, I said that we'll talk about it next week, and I already just talked about it. Not good for content. Not good for making you guys wait till next week and coming back next week.
Gotta leave him with the cliffhangers, Kebs.
I take away the cliffhanger.
Yeah, we'll get him next time.
Yeah. We'll think of another cliffhanger by the end of this episode. We'll have a full spoiler of all of our pets next week. There's the cliffhanger.
Yeah,
there's the cliffhanger.
I'm gonna have to drop some puppy pics. Oh no.
No. I'm joking. But closing out. You have any final thoughts? Repreach.
I think all in all, as it's coming through with One Piece, everybody's gonna have a little something new come their way. Whether they want to add it in or feel like they should add it in, that's a different question. But we're getting goods. We're eating well, men's.
This is true.
What closing thoughts do you have? I know you're doing Christmas themed leaders. So what closing thoughts do you have, Lafik?
Not a lot, honestly. As far as like content we're working on, I'm doing like you said, I'm doing Christmas leaders for Off Meta Monday this week. So I'm playing red green stuff. We did Luffy, I said this month. We did Luffy last week. This week we're doing Chopper. And then I think our last week of December, I think we're going to be doing Law. I haven't made my mind up quite yet, Red Green Law. But that's what I'm cooking on there. As far as closing thoughts for what we talked about this week, really excited for the new set. I think we're finally in that phase of looking up on One Piece after being very chagrined by this last set. I feel like a lot of people are kind of over it. I'm over it. Everybody's kind of ready to move on, and I think we're moving on into like one of the most exciting times to be playing this game, just because it's our first rotation. We're getting a bunch of new cards and new spoilers in English for the very first time, and then on top of that, we are finally seeing a simultaneous release here soon after Wild 2. So there's just a lot of things to be like very excited about as a One Piece player right now. So I'm very jazzed. I'm very jazzed to move forward. I'm super excited for EVO4. I think we're in for some good times. That's my rambled closing thoughts.
Yeah, I definitely agree. We're definitely looking at a very good time when it comes to One Piece. So overall, for me, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to this channel. We're only at 177 subs. We need more of you guys to subscribe. And closing thoughts for me, so I am wrapping up the last bit of playing every leader. I'm on OP13. So this last stream coming on Monday. So actually the day this airs. Yeah, so I'll be playing the last bit of leaders, putting them up, except for of course OP14 leaders. I'm gonna try to wait until we get most of the EBO4 stuff, see if there's anything overlap I could play with the new OP14 leaders. But a separate thing to notate here, the ACG channel. So this one here, the organization is going to be launching its first tournament for One Piece. Depending how it does, we'll do more. The goal is to do two to four big ones every single month, as long as we get the supporters. So if you're interested in it, the links are in the description for the Patreon as well as the tournament. So go sign up. It does require you to be, of course, a member of the Patreon, supporting this channel and all the ACG channel members. So, and it also helps pricing, because it's going to be basically I'm going to try to do boxes. That's the goal. So we have a quota to reach it. So if we get there, we will be giving a box away. Otherwise, it'll be maybe 6 packs or something in between. I don't know, but depending on how people show up. And yeah, so that's all I have for this week. And we'll be back next week, probably with some more. Hopefully, they're going to dump a bunch of EBO4 spoilers this coming week. And we'll have a lot more to talk about next week. Yeah.
Yep.
That's not OP13 related, because I don't think a lot of us have any energy to talk about it.
Well,
so
yeah, I should also have something to drop next week for review from Nationals on the ACG channel here.
Yes, he was talking about his experience at the Nats for White Schwartz. So if you're interested in White Schwartz, definitely we might have some content coming in the future. I don't know if Repreach ever wants to drop some videos for the channel. He might.
I've been planning on dropping that for the ACG for a minute. I just, the hiatus and all that.
Yeah, so until next week, hopefully you guys have a great week. We'll talk to you guys next time.